Welcome to PsychicBent. My name is Carrie.
And I'm Kim. We are two sisters wanting to help other psychics learn and grow in their abilities and to help educate about spirits, angels, and everything psychic.
Welcome back, PsychicBent listeners. We're very excited but we're always excited. It could be the caffeine.
Definitely the
It could just
caffeine.
be we're excitable people.
Yeah.
But this is our what episode, Kim?
100th. Woohoo!
Yay!
Yay!
So this was a huge milestone, because, back in February, we did our 2-year anniversary episode.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, it's crazy.
Yeah, this one kind of snuck up on us. We were prepared for it to be the 100th episode. So.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yep.
What's funny is, Kim came up with a great idea, talk about past episodes and, did it impact you in a certain way, or what you got out of it, or what was your favorite, just something, just a review. Obviously, we're not going to review 99 episodes.
No.
But so that sounded like a fun topic, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, Kim. Let's go with it.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it snuck up on us quick. It just didn't click that, because I number the episodes as we go anyway, but it just didn't register in my brain. We probably should do something for the 100th episode. A lot of podcasts end way before they hit the 100th episode, so I think it's kind of well, I'm pretty proud of the fact that we've made it this long. I don't know about you, Carrie, but I'm really pleased and happy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I wonder why the podcasts end when they don't, and just life happens, or they run out of material, or I wonder why.
Well,
wonder what happens.
I think a lot of times they are in the they have the mindset that this is going to be making us a whole lot of money. We can make money doing this. Let's do this. Let's dive into it. People are going to want to listen to what we have to say and stuff like that, and they can make money doing it. But, whenever they get past the 12th episode, a lot of times just 10 episodes, they realize that there's a lot of work involved, all the editing and processing and research and everything everything that goes into it. It's a lot of hard work. And especially some of these podcasts try to, when they first start out, like we did, we tried to do one every week and found that pace was just not, we weren't able.
It was too much work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it really didn't give us the opportunity to focus on researching and absorbing and trying to study a subject to actually...
So we get something out.
Right. We develop something out of it so that we can share with you, the audience, that what it is that we learned. And that's what we're here for, is to educate and teach you what it is that we've learned and discovered, and maybe it will help impact your life. Well, a lot of these other podcasts, they're just out there thinking that, okay, well, we're going to get 10,000 people listening to it right away, but they just can't keep that up. They just can't keep going. Yeah. And then they get discouraged and disappointed because they're not making the money they thought they'd make.
Well, it's a good thing we're not in to make money.
Exactly.
Because we're in it, because that's why we're in it. We're in it to learn and see what we can get out of, for our own self-growth. And, putting together the podcast, if you don't mind me saying, Kim, has helped you immensely get out of the closet, or get farther out of the closet.
Oh, well, yeah, it has. It's the taking the time to be and doing the research on the different subject matters that we come up with. And it allows me to reflect on what it is I've done or been through, experienced, whatever in my life. And it puts those little light bulbs. It's just like as you're walking down a dark hallway with a long dark hallway with lots of lights, I get to the next light bulb and it comes on so I can see a little bit more down that hallway, that darkened hallway. And that's what it feels like whenever we go from each recording that we do, each subject we come up with. And, there's times whenever we have subjects that we discuss that we actually don't do or forget about, or it's just not the right time, where I've done a little bit of research on it and I do get stuff out of it. So there's times whenever that happens and it turns on another light bulb, but we don't end up sharing that episode with you because it may be just not the right time to record that type of episode, because we've done it before. We thought about a subject, did research on it, and we didn't even record it until maybe 5 episodes later, where we're like, hey, well, let's go back to that and put it out there, So it's definitely been a really awakening journey for me from the very beginning. But of course, that's kind of what you thought would happen from the start.
Well, maybe I'm psychic and I knew. Okay. Well, the whole point about, in my view, the whole point of the podcast too is to help people be comfortable in their skin.
Yeah.
You're psychic, you're an empath. I mean, so many times people, when we're talking to them, at shows or whatnot, that the first thing they say is, I know, the empath thing makes sense. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, it does. That part makes sense, but I think the Claires is what really triggers them to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Because
yes. Yeah.
It all starts with the Claires, and that's why we started the podcast with the Claires, because that's the very beginning. Right. There's something that's happening, or that you're experiencing something, or that people keep coming to you for whatever reason. Why is that?
Yes.
What is that funny smell? I keep smelling smells when there's nothing there to smell. That's smelly.
Well, that was quite the smell.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Or how come I just know this?
Right.
How come I just know? How come I just was told, I just felt this is what I needed to do, and it worked out great. Why?
Yeah.
We can put, I don't know why, but as humans, we have to have a label for something. I don't know if it's just because of all the social media and everything that's out there that now we just have to have a name for everything.
Oh no, that's been the discovery of man from the beginning.
Okay, so now that you have a name for the Claires, or or what type of empath you are, I mean, it really starts to ease you into being more comfortable in your skin, more comfortable with who you are, and knowing that that's natural. I mean, so many people have been like, that we have spoken to, are like, yeah, that made perfect sense, and I it puts them at ease, because now they understand, they're okay. They're not cray.
Yeah.
That this is normal.
Yeah.
That this is a normal phenomena, and understanding how to deal with it and how to develop it. We started with the Claires. We were new to podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was the toughest and most exuberant topic we could have started with. We thought, we could knock this out maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And it became a series because there was you couldn't just rush it. There was so much information, and we were getting so much out of it. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, that's happened to me, or, I've never tasted anything out of the ordinary, as where you had, so we had a lot of conversation on the Claires when we were starting out, and it was a lot of information. It's also an episode where I think when we were trying to, and correct me if I got this wrong, Kim, we were trying to push as much in as possible, and the recording didn't work.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, and so, here we are talking for over an hour, and it didn't work. I think it was my recording didn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas Kim's did. So we had to totally redo it, and that's kind of where it became a series. So, kind of Spirit kind of stepped in on that one. I believe was just kind of like, oh, hold on, this is an important topic. This is your first topic, other than growing up in a haunted house. We were forced to break it down, and it was wonderful. It worked out better that way. Listeners might have found it boring, but it really needed the time.
Right.
It needed to be a series.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it became a second series because we realized later on, like in our episodes 58 through 60, we ended up covering them again because we discovered there was so much more information that we had discovered or forgot to include in the first series of Claire's. So we redid them again, or didn't redo them. We added 2 with the new information that we felt everybody could benefit from.
Yeah, and I think as we develop, we do see more
Sure.
information because we have developed, and now we're like, now it's almost like, I don't want to say blinders, but it's more like more stuff's getting revealed.
Yeah, spirit opens your eyes to more information that you're ready to absorb and put into practice. Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, because there's no way you could be prepared to know the infinite knowledge. First of all, you wouldn't recognize it. It's as we grow, we get more.
Right.
More is brought to us to learn, and it's our decision, our choice, if we're going to go with it or not. If you don't, you probably get whacked on the head with a board, redirected. It's like when you miss your turn on the GPS. Please make a legal U-turn. Turn around, go back. You missed your path. Get back on it.
Yeah. But that, I do think that I've gotten a lot out of it. That, of course, I've grown, but it opened my eyes. We had to do this, and I think by not facing my path, because as we've said in many episodes, and also the episode on the path that we just did.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 99 that we just did. I have been known to not follow the path or stay on the path that I'm on and not venture off of it, even though it's fighting me every step of the way.
I think we all do that.
Yeah, it's comfortable. Logical brain, which, many of you out there also have the logical mindset, that you have to work around in order to actually develop the abilities. That's your block to keep you from actually developing in the psychic abilities. It's because that logical brain steps in and says, but do I really need to go that path? Do I really want to step out of my comfort zone here? It's a battle with the logical side. But yeah, I felt that the Clairs and the Empath episodes as well really did, and the research that I did on it helped to take those blinders off for me. I may not have been willing to admit it all, of course, because that's been a 2-year growth here. But yeah, I think those were actually the episodes that I felt, wow, you know what? Maybe I am special too. Because I always felt that you and Julie had these, and knew you and Julie had these abilities, but didn't think that that was my path or that was something that I had. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first ones were really, really the opening up that little doorway to let the light in that I had kept out or didn't allow myself to let in is probably the better word. So I really got a lot out of those episodes 2 through 10 through the Clairs and the Empaths,
Well, and it's funny is, as life is happening, and we talked about that before, that you get sidetracked, that you kind of quit doing your daily practice because life is crazy. We kind of touched on that on the ups and downs of psychic abilities.
Right.
And sometimes, like I'll go back and I'll re-listen to an episode because I feel like I just feel I need to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten to the point where I'm not listening to any other psychic podcasts because our topic and another podcast topic seem to align a lot.
A lot.
And so I'm like going, how are we doing this? And it's funny because it's not like they did the podcast and then we did it.
Right.
Because we record ahead of time and then these drop.
Right.
So it's we're not airing it live because we got to edit it and get off the sound of my dog crying in the background and my cat shooting something off the table and playing, or it's storming where Kim's at today. So there's these things need to be edited as much as possible. So it's kind of funny that it's weird. I guess Kim tells me about it because I quit listening to the other podcasts, because I was kind of like, okay. I don't want that. I don't want them to think we're stealing their stuff, because we're not.
Exactly.
And then sometimes we do the episode, and their next episode is what we just did.
Yeah.
And we know they're not copying us. We're not copying them. It's spirit, and it's reaffirming to me that we're doing the right thing when a well-established podcast is doing the same thing.
Right.
That we're doing,
exactly.
or we're doing the same thing that they're doing.
The prime example of that is just recently I messaged Carrie and said, "Did you see what they just dropped on their podcast?" And she looked at it and she was a little surprised, but it kind of mirrored, at least their subject matter mirrored what we did with the psychic toolboxes. That was, I think, episode 17 through 22. Carrie and I discussed all the things that you should have in your toolbox, like tarot cards, oracle cards, pendulums, dowsing rods, and things like that. And their episode was, or their two episodes, I believe, they had was about the same thing. And they actually called it psychic tools, I believe. They pretty much used the same words that we used. They didn't use our words. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's just that subject matter was really, really close. And we know they recorded theirs early as well, and then dropped it. So it just validates that we are on our path, and our messages, we feel, are what Spirit is giving us, and someone out there needs to hear.
Or sometimes it's just what we need to hear.
Or what we need to hear. Yeah, well, we're someone.
I mean, we do this for ourselves too, not just for our listeners. And
Yeah.
so I have to, Kim will send me the podcast to listen to before she puts it in the queue to drop. And so I listen to it and everything. And sometimes, there's, changes. And, most of the time I'm like, yeah, it sounds great. Go with it, So at work, I don't know why, but if I try to listen to a podcast on Spotify, if I get a text message I want to respond to, it quits talking. But if I do iHeartRadio, it'll keep playing while I answer a text and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll do that. Well, Kim and I, we're going to do this podcast. And there were a few I wanted to re-listen to just to touch base with before we do this recording. And on iHeartRadio, I'm talking so fast. And I'm like, that's not how it sounded when I reviewed the podcast. And then I was like, sounds like Kim's talking pretty fast. And I'm like, what the heck? And I hadn't noticed that before. It was the shadow work. I was, reviewing the shadow work episode, because I got a lot out of that episode. But I'm like, why am I talking? So how much caffeine did I have? I was talking very quickly. But when I review the podcast, it doesn't come across that way.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I think that Spirit guides it the way you need it. And if that maybe that wasn't one you really you just needed to get through it to move on to the next topic, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, because, I know I can talk fast. I was just kind of like, because, that episode, I got a lot out of it. So I wasn't rushing through it, facing the fear and, accepting it and understanding it. So it's not controlling you. That was huge.
Yeah.
For me in the shadow work. And I've done shadow work, and I've done it multiple times because it's not a one and done thing, because you've got a lifetime of unhealed wounds. You could be working through a past life wounds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even a karmatic wound. So, that one I thought was really impactful to me, just because it's okay to acknowledge it. And that's not human nature. We're not taught to do that, to face it, accept it, understand it, move on, and let it go. That's not what we're taught in life.
Yeah, true.
So, I got a lot out of that episode, but maybe I was hungry and I was wanting to have dinner. I don't know.
Oh, goodness, that's so funny. Quite a few of our episodes, I really enjoyed the editing, researching, techniques and stuff that we go through whenever we were talking about the grounding and protection episode. That one was like episode 11, and all the various meditation episodes that we've done. I get a lot out of those whenever I'm researching those for new subject matter or whatever it is that we're going to be talking about with the topic there, because I always learn a new little technique, or I learn a new way of thinking or meditating or interpreting anything that happens whenever we do those episodes. I don't know about you, but when we're recording them, I get a feeling of peace whenever we're talking about those, going through those,
Yeah.
and that just shows that as you speak things out and you learn about them, believe them, and then you speak about them, that it does impact you right away as you are putting things out there, which goes along with the manifestation as well. That's how it all works together, You start putting all these little puzzle pieces together. With the grounding, it allows you to open yourself, or you know, make yourself where you can focus on things. With the meditation, the mindfulness, that helps you communicate and get into a spot to where you can receive messages. It's just all goes together. And then you've got the manifestation on top of that, which allows you to accomplish those things that you're wanting to do. So it's really been quite the puzzle for me of putting things together, because I have that analytical mind we talk about. It's puzzles I love puzzles, and that's how this all feels to me, is I'm putting these puzzle pieces together to learn about who I am and what I am here for. What am I doing? Why am I here? I need that puzzle to come together.
That's a good way to think of it, as a puzzle.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So I think that when we do come across certain episodes, and like, they come out of nowhere. We know Spirit's bringing them, but a lot of topics just, kind of like appear, to us. And we've talked about that before. Like, it'll show up on an ad in Facebook, like, oh, wait, that, or, you're scrolling and something pops up, or, Pinterest or anything like that. I do get some random things that, suggestions on Pinterest. So it's kind of like I'll look at it and see. But I think that on this journey, we have also become more open to all walks of beliefs and paths, because everybody has their own. And, when you're first starting your spiritual journey, we talked about it in the last episode, that things that once seemed scary, we understand what they are now. And, whether or not it's our path in life, I think we're more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say accepting of it, more educated.
Well, I think it's both accepting and educating.
Yeah. Because the unknown, as humans, is scary. And, or we like to assume we know what that is, but until you start to research it, and it gives you understanding, and you're more accepting, and I think that has been huge for us.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're totally accepting and practicing. Not necessarily. We just accept that is out there.
Yeah,
and is a possibility, but not necessarily a practice that we want to, or I as an individual would want to or be drawn to practice.
I just think it in human nature, so we people should do that anyway. Try to understand someone else's viewpoint, and then, that doesn't mean that you're accepting that viewpoint as your own.
Right.
But you understand that, that's them. I just feel that, and we did the subject of gratitude, and I just feel like if we're more accepting of other people and their practices, with the understanding that that's okay, you be you, and I'm going to be me, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's your path. It's not my position or place to judge you. And if I'm judging you, I can't have much gratitude, can I?
Right.
Because that's ego.
I was going to say, that's that ego factor, the fear and the ego.
Yes, that's ego. And I think that has, because that comes up a lot, because we all have ego. And I think that, some of these episodes, we're trying to show that whether or not, I've had people say that I don't believe in psychics. Okay, well, fine, don't listen to the podcast. Move on. Find something else entertaining. That's okay. I'm not going to be mad at that person or try to get them to understand what it is to be psychic, because it's not their path right now, and it may never be their path, and that's okay. but I'm not going to let that interfere with my path.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think a lot of times we get to where, like, okay, when we came up with the idea to do the podcast, and we had 5 episodes recorded before you put it out there.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It was 5.
And so then now I'm like, well, where I work is a lot of people, and I haven't been very public about being psychic. And so now I'm like telling people at work, and that was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody was accepting of it because of beliefs and stuff. But I put myself out there. That was a learning experience. And I wasn't comfortable in my skin at that point to be doing it.
Yeah.
But this has been a huge learning experience for me, to do the podcast, and we really hope we're helping people, because that's the point, is for us to not teach but also to help with help people feel comfortable in their skin, help people with like shadow work, with getting past certain things in your life that are holding you back,
Mm-hmm.
just to basically help.
Exactly. A lot of our episodes, they do teach me a whole lot, as I've said before, but they also made me realize that I was already practicing things that I didn't
I
associate
know.
with psychic abilities.
you didn't realize you were doing it. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. Like going, oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
Or I've been doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all my dreams and stuff that I have,
Mm-hmm.
I've always had, and I have always researched dream interpretations, because I have a lot of dreams that, as we've all discussed, or as you all know, that get pretty bizarre.
Yes.
And they tend to bleed into my everyday life to cause issues with things. For example, I have a really difficult time being a passenger in a car going over a bridge, or where there's water on, a bridge that's over water. Bridge that's over land, I'm okay with. Just can't look down because it's high. But I mean, if there's water in any way, shape, or form on either side of me, and I'm in a car, I have anxiety with that. That I can't, I either have to close my eyes if I'm the passenger, or if I'm driving, I have to just focus on the road. I can't let my eyes drift left or right to see the water, because one of my dreams that I've had since a child that I've done research on is losing control of my car and going off a bridge or a levee or something into the water, and then crashing in, and then different things, scenarios happen under the water. But that's just dreams that I have had since I was a child, and I've always done research on that. So I thought I understood about dream interpretations until we started doing the episodes on it. And I'm like, oh man, this is really making sense now, because it was now not just the psychological part of dream interpretation. This was now the psychic and the spiritual and that type of interpretation that was making more sense as to why am I having these crazy dreams. Dreams about buildings with mazes in them, that's my life, puzzles,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep.
but I didn't realize that I was already doing research on dreams, deciding why am I having this dream. Having the spiritual interpretation then just really took it up a notch and made things more understandable. And some of those dreams that I kept repeatedly having as a child, I was able to, or from childhood, I was actually able to get the message finally, because I took that turn into the spiritual side to interpret the dreams, and it all made sense. And then some of those really ebbed that I was having, unless it was another thing that I didn't get the message the first time around, and I had to have it again.
Yeah. If you're if it's repetitive dreaming, then yeah, there's a message there you're supposed to be picking up on.
Yeah.
And again, dream interpretation too can also be a form of shadow work.
Yes.
Because because if it could be a subconscious dream, it could be a psychic dream, or you could be astral traveling.
Right. Well, that was the other one that it popped up was
Yeah,
the astro travel. Wait a minute, I'm actually having that kind of a moment here. You know?
yes.
Oh goodness.
To me, when I figured out in the dreams that if it's a dream that I don't like, when I realized that I didn't have to participate in the dream and I could end the dream, that was huge for me. Because I mean, I don't have as many scary dreams as you do.
I have a lot. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I was having one about, we were doing the podcast. It was early on in the podcast, and I was having a dream, and I did not like what was going on. I did not like what's going on in this dream. And I just said, you know what? I am not participating. And it just ended. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. I mean, I was having a little fit in my dream.
Yeah.
And so I could have been astral traveling. I don't know, but no, I don't, because I didn't feel the comeback thing that you get from astral travel. So it was just a dream that I don't know if it was subconscious or psychic, but I just like, I'm not participating in this dream. And it ended, and I'm like, okay, that's good.
Yeah. So those were the dream ones were really the eye openers was examples of ones that I had when we did the research realized little light bulb number 3532 came on. I've already been practicing this.
There's so much material on dream interpretation.
Oh
There's
yeah.
so many different kinds of dream interpretations. Different, like you've got the biblical, you've got the Carl Jung, you've got and of course AI wants to give you their interpretation of it, which is like, no, thank you. Um, but it's just so to me, you could read everything out there on one particular the one little segment that stuck out in your dream that didn't make any sense, and it just comes down to sometimes just writing it out and figuring it out on your own,
Mm-hmm.
or doing your dream journal and going back and saying, have I had this dream before? Go back and look, because sometimes you don't remember that this is a repetitive dream because it's not happening every night. It might be popping up every 6 months,
Yeah.
just depending on what's going on in your life or what spirit's trying to tell you. Or, okay, well, now's the time for this, so we're gonna bring it out again. you know
Yeah.
Maybe she'll catch on.
Exactly. And it could be just something as simple as the color in that dream is the message that you should be focusing on. It's just really fascinating. It may not be the actual background going on or it's the color
Hmm.
that because you had the one dream where everything was there was an outer color of gray or something
Yes.
in your dream. There's things going in the background, but it was that color in front that was the main draw for you, and that was maybe where the interpretation needed to come from. So it's really whatever is really focusing in the dreams.
Well, and that's why writing them down helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to write down as much as you can, color, what's going on in the background, what's happening up front. Are people dressed normally? I mean, just you're trying to find out what it is that you're supposed to pick up on.
Yeah, right.
It would be nice if Spirit just gave you a text message and said, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. But because we have free will and because we need to learn things, whether it's a past life contract or you need to learn this on your path to go to the next phase or next step. But it would be nice if it would be a little text message from Spirit saying, by the way, this is what we're going to work on this week.
Yeah, because it's been really interesting because as we cover a subject, no matter what topic we cover, it's just like a little bit more opens up, and then the next topic comes up that we cover. We've decided that would be a good subject matter spirits presents to us to cover, and they all just tie back together. It's like it just brings what we've already covered in the past episodes in, and it just keeps growing. It just the knowledge keeps growing, and it just all fits. It blows my mind. Let's just put it that way. That's what I'm trying to say. Is just how it's all just so connected. When we talk about, we get off what I consider off psychic topics when we've discussed urban legends. When we get onto urban legends
Mm-hmm.
and we get on to
Superstitions and
yeah, things like that. I'm thinking, well, that's just a break in whatever we're talking about with psychic abilities and such, but yet it all ties together. It still
Hmm.
ties together. We end up bringing it right back to spirit and such. So I just find it really awesome. I'm in awe
Yeah.
of what we are doing, and I hope everybody else is picking up on that as well, that they're enjoying the actual episodes that we do and learning from them, because that's the important thing for me, is learning, continuing on in our abilities and whatnot. So I think it's really fun. Miracles
Yeah.
was a subject that I believed in all along, that there are miracles out there. And when we did that episode and actually focused on miracles that had happened in our own lives and such, not just the ones that we had found online, it just put a spotlight on people have miracles in their lives every day and may not realize that that is actually what it is. And that's what I think we get out of every episode. People may have this, that, or the other, but just never realized. Because,
Mhm.
I don't. you know, I don't realize
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean, I think miracles happen so much that we don't. I think a lot of people don't believe that miracles happen in today's world,
Right.
or what they're thinking the miracle is, this big, huge bolt of lightning came down and this revelation happened and this big miracle happened. And I mean, miracles happen every day. We've talked about our own personal things on that in that episode where things stepped in and prevented something to hurt us.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think that's, again, it's a mindset. I mean, there's miracles happen every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just a baby being born could be, I mean, that's because so much could go wrong. That's a miracle to me.
Yeah.
And you see where people survive something that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
We had a situation the other day where a guy was going to work and he fell asleep behind the wheel and he ended up in the river. His car flipped over upside down, and cars sink very quickly.
Yes, they do.
And it should have gone down. He got trapped in a pocket of air when it flipped over. Getting out of a car that's submerging is difficult. He survived. I mean, that was a miracle,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I follow these there's this not-for-profit organization that what they do is they go around and they try to solve cold cases where they're divers, and they try to help families locate loved ones whose vehicle and them have just simply disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
And usually that means that they've ended up in the water. And so I think if I hadn't been, because this was been like the last 2 weeks, I've been heavily into this. Like, it's like, why, am I, because I don't like deep water, I'm not, but I'm enthralled by it. And then this happened, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a miracle. That guy should have died,
Yeah.
because how quickly a car sinks. And when they flip over, it's even harder to get out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and it just helped me understand it. I'm like, going, that was a miracle,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
Definitely. Definitely. Wasn't his time.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the twin flame soulmate episode.
That's...
For one, we were together in your closet, and literally Kim records in her closet.
Yes, I do.
And that is her psychic closet.
Yes.
And just because try to keep sound buffered and everything, things you don't think about until you start to do a podcast. That's why sometimes I'm echoey, because I am not in a closet. But and I try to stay consistent in my location to be, so Kim doesn't have to do too much work, or I hope she doesn't have to do too much work when she's editing my stuff. But we had so much fun doing that podcast because we realized we both talk with our hands
Yep.
more than we realized. And we were sharing a microphone, so we kind of like kept whacking the microphone as we talked.
Yep.
And but that was we had a lot of fun doing that. But it was really, I got a lot out of that, because twin flame is the term you always hear. You're looking for your twin flame, and I think because we really don't want to think that there's a soulmate. The twin flame, you're so much alike, you're so in tune. It just, yeah, the twin is you.
Yeah.
It's just, but before it gets uncomfortable, everything's clicking.
Yeah.
And then versus the soulmate, where it's not perfect,
No.
but it's still your soulmate, and you don't think of leaving because you're really happy with this person,
Yeah.
and you forgive them for when they do something stupid, because we all do something stupid,
Yeah.
and they forgive you for doing something stupid. You know what I'm saying? But that's not how it is with the soulmate, the twin flame. The twin flame is intense,
Yeah. Right.
and then painful,
Yeah.
and then intense, and then painful.
Yeah.
So that was a really good episode for me, because it really helped me identify where, oh, you were the twin flame. It makes perfect sense now.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I have met my soulmate.
Yeah.
And what's really funny, because we talked about that episode that I thought I'd found it. It's the same man, so he's definitely the soulmate. But what's really funny is the twin flame and the soulmate know each other.
Yes.
And they have never liked each other from day one.
True.
Which is really funny, because he didn't know that it was funny. He asked me out many, many years ago, and I was with the twin flame. And I turned him down.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was with someone I met. And it's just really hilarious how Spirit made this work out.
Yeah.
They are oil and water together. They rarely are they together.
Mm-hmm.
They are avoiding, no speaking. I mean, it's just funny how much they don't like each other. Which is,
Which was how they were way before you even met them.
Yes.
It was before you were even in the picture. That was their.
Yes, that was there.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah. So I think so. I really, to me, it's kind of, at first it was a little uncomfortable. Like, oh, you know him? It's like, okay, but it didn't bother us.
Right.
It didn't bother him that I had dated the guy he can't stand, because that was my past.
Exactly.
It had nothing to do with him.
Right.
And that again shows the soulmate connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter, because I'm with him, so it doesn't matter. That's just water under the bridge, so to speak. But the bridge, Kim's not looking over the side.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, this is what I believe, and I've always believed this, that you need to go through this to learn that lesson. There's a specific lesson you're supposed to be learning in that situation before, I believe, before the soulmate comes and you appreciate and see the soulmate for who they are, because you went through these other experiences that you learned to be able to see the actual soulmate, because I feel you're
and timing.
Yeah. Well, that's all part of it. Timing. You're not meant to meet them now. You're not meant to be with them right now. You have to experience these things in order to appreciate, see, and acknowledge that this is the one that is the soulmate.
Yes. And we both have gone through challenging relationships, and we both have gone through a lot of similar things, and we appreciate each other.
Right.
Which, if I've not gone through the soulmate thing, who knows?
Yeah.
Twin flame thing, not soulmate thing, the twin flame thing.
Right.
Because, that was one of those situations, like, really, Spirit? But I didn't understand what twin flame was, actually.
Right.
But once we started it on that episode, I'm just kind of like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of growth happened on that one.
Exactly.
A lot of growth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
Growth that was needed.
Right. It's amazing how those things happen. That was an episode you needed to hear and acknowledge and work through.
Right.
I've had those episodes too where that was, oh yeah, wow. That one moved me or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I shouldn't say this, but sorry, Carrie.
What?
One of my favorite learning episodes, because that's what you're talking about with the twin flame episode, was a very, very big learning episode, was the Auras episode. And I realize you weren't able to record that one with me, but I think I grew a lot with that episode. I am not an extrovert in any way, shape, or form. So doing that episode by myself was a big step for an introvert to do. But
Well,
I
yeah, because you have no one to talk to.
no one to talk to and bounce things off of. But it allowed me to focus on the actual subject matter of the auras, and it gave me so much confirmation about what I experienced and had been experiencing with seeing colors around people that I didn't know everybody didn't see that was not something everybody saw. It's what I saw, just assumed everybody else did. But that episode really opened my eyes up to how we are so unique in our own abilities and what we have, and that not everybody's experiencing what you're experiencing. And you can step out of your box and talk to other people and let them know about what it is that you are experiencing, because as an introvert you don't do that. You don't step out of your comfort zone and tell people things or talk to people, in mass, in a group setting or anything like that. And that episode, I think, was one that really boosted my confidence in what I'm doing here. What a validation episode, I guess we could say. Validating things from the past and where I was going. That.
Well, and when you have something that you do psychically, that you've always done psychically as a child, you don't realize you're doing it psychically
Mm-hmm.
because it's just something you do. You saw color.
Right.
I've seen color very, very few times, and that's a muscle you can develop.
Mm-hmm.
But you were doing it naturally,
Right.
and so as you do it, you don't realize it's not something because you just do it all the time.
Right.
It's when I would pick up psychic things, I didn't realize I was getting psychic hits. For one, I didn't have a name for it. It's just something that happened.
Right.
If I'd see a picture, that's what everybody sees a picture. Shoot, growing up in a haunted house, we didn't think it was weird.
Yeah. Right.
But we also were into horror films and things like that teach you to be afraid of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. True.
So to me, and I'm sure Julie felt the same, and you felt the same. It's just something, it's just we talked to them, It's like, because it wasn't weird. Now, as we got older, people's reaction to what you would say got weird
Yeah.
because they don't understand it. They kind of treat you like something's wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
which it's just something you do. So like growing up, you saw color around people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just not unusual for you and what psychic skills you had and still have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I think that's where a lot of people shut down their abilities, is because they've been doing it all along, and then they tell somebody a situation that happened, like it's like we all do it kind of thing, and that reaction
Mm-hmm.
that you get, like, what's wrong with you, or what?
Yeah.
People don't do that. And then you're like questioning your sanity, or am I imagining that? I mean, but I saw it. That happened.
Yeah. Because I never told anybody about the colors around people except in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my coming out, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going
Yeah.
to feel judged. Here I am telling everybody out there that's listening that this is what I've been experiencing. So that episode, that was probably, and I'm sorry you weren't in it, but it allowed, by you not being in it though, it allowed me to explore that. And
Well, it's something that you needed to do on your own.
yeah, right. Because
So,
I
the
needed to.
timing turned out that way.
Exactly. And it worked out that way. Spirit said, Carrie, not today.
You're not going to make it today, and that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. Oh,
And
goodness.
it is difficult trying to carve out time
Mm-hmm.
to record a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not only are you carving out time to research topics, you're also having to put together, like Kim puts together her material, I put together my material, and there's many times we don't get through all of our material.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Kim will say something and Carrie squirrels, and then, we start a conversation about that thing, or I'll say something and vice versa. We'll have a conversation about that. And, then there's so much material we never even get to that kind of like, well, we could make a series, which we kind of figure we don't want to do series too many times.
Right. We try
Because
not to, but
they can get long.
mm-hmm.
But, some topics you have to. But, it's like Spirit intervenes and says, no, we're going to go this way with this topic. This is what you're supposed to do. You didn't follow the instructions.
That's right.
And we'll end up, with a topic that we kind of like, okay, like this topic here. Kim's like, let's talk about, what we've learned, different, how the podcasts have helped us and changed us and different things like that. And you have 99 episodes you have to glean from. It's like, so it's kind of like made me kind of go, okay. So there's a couple that were standing out that I went back and re-listened to, because Spirit, I was asking Spirit, and this is what was going on. And, and I'm listening to them at work while I'm working,
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to the psychic symbols and Bella's story.
Yeah.
And my left side has a cubicle. So my left side is the inside of the cubicle. And I'm typing away and I'm listening to the thing episode. And then all of a sudden my arm got grabbed. Just like, and see, now at work, I'm psychically shut down because it's a very haunted place.
Right.
So my left arm up by the shoulder got grabbed by an entity, and I'm like, and I was miffed because it's like, we all know Carrie does not like to be touched by ghosts and spirits. Don't touch me.
Yep.
That's the golden rule. You want to communicate with me is one thing. Don't touch me. So I was miffed. I was like, what? And of course no one's there. And so, there's two people I work with that we, communicate a lot. We talk about, psychic stuff and things like that. And so we have a group Teams message thing that the three of us. So I just got touched, and 5 minutes later, the girl on the other side of the cubicle messaged me. She goes, come here. And she only, so I'm like, okay. And I replied, do I need to open up or stay closed? She goes, no, open up and come over here. And I'm like, she had an entity in her cubicle.
Oh.
Now that was to the left of me.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I came around the corner and I went past the one girl's cubicle, got to that one. And I'm like, and I was standing, kind of, it's like, it's a U-shape cubicle. So I'm standing at where I first, got to it. And I moved to the other side because it was right there.
Oh.
And I'm looking, and so I'm looking past her, and she goes, is there something in here? And I went, yeah. She goes, it's bothering me. And I said, you want me to make it go away? She goes, yes. Like, it was a bad energy, which, when you have people, you have all kinds of people you work with. And if you have someone who's miserable
mm-hmm.
and doesn't like anybody to be happy, their lower vibration brings these things in. And she has someone that sits in the cubicle in front of her that is just not a happy person. That's just them. And so I'm sure that's what's drawing that lower level energy in. And so I made it go away, and I went and got some salt, and I salted her cubicle, and I drew a path, so it can't cross, set the intention, and did all of that. And this girl's highly allergic to everything. So I can't smudge with my spray smudge when she's there.
Right.
So I salted.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because it's like we talk about Bella and all the symbols and all this, what happened that freaked her out. And then my arm got grabbed. But then when I found out in the cube next, he did that.
Yeah.
He grabbed me.
Yeah.
And he went away, and the next morning I was in there smudging pretty good and salted, put the barriers up, and but you could feel this change in energy just when I salted after I made it leave. You could just feel it got lighter.
Right, exactly. That's always
Yeah,
amazes me when that happens. The
yeah,
difference in the air.
and you need to like be open to feel that,
Hmm.
because if you're not open to feel it, you don't. Like, I was engrossed in work. I'm engrossed and I'm shut down my abilities. I'm listening to the podcast, and so I was not. If I'd been open, he never would have got close enough to touch me.
Right.
And I had been seeing things walk past for a couple days, walk by my cubicle, and I ignore them because I don't want to have a conversation. I'm ignoring them at work. You know, but so I don't know if that was linked together or not, because I wasn't getting bad vibes off what we kept walking by. I was just seeing somebody keep walking by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just weird how that all. She usually attracts children because she's a
Because
mom.
she's a mom. Yeah.
And she's got all these cute little frogs. She collects frogs, so she's got all these cute little frogs in her cubicle,
Yeah.
and she's got her kids' drawings hung up. So she's always attracting children, and I'm always having to make them go.
Yeah.
Like,
What's also interesting about Carrie's story is the fact that Belle has been on my mind for the past, I don't know, I'd been thinking about her for about a week or so. Hi, Belle. I hope you're doing well. But
yes,
she's been on my mind. And then Carrie goes to that episode, and that's what happens when she's on the episode. So I don't know. Maybe that spirit had been there for that ghost had been there for longer than what Carrie knows or was aware. Maybe because I was also thinking about Belle. So
yeah, it was just kind of odd because I texted Kim. I said, "This is just what happened," and that was before because it had just happened. But
right.
that was before I got asked to come over to the cubicle. You know,
Yeah. Right.
yeah. So, and I didn't tell you about that part.
No, you didn't tell me about that part, so I just found it
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
It all revolved around Belle's story,
Yes,
you know?
it all started with Belle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, anyway, well, I think that I've grown a lot. I feel that you've grown a lot in the past episodes, and I really, really hope everybody else out there that's listening is also learning from what it is that we are doing in the podcast.
yeah. I hope so too. Because we're not done learning. We're never done learning. We're never done growing.
Hmm.
It's something that if you embrace, you could really, go a long way.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just been a journey. It's been times very fun. It's been times where it's been a little hectic because trying to carve out time, you know, for the podcast, and trying to make quality out of the podcast,
Yeah.
because we don't want to be up here sounding preachy. We want to, we want it to be real,
Yeah.
real life, real stories, good information, and hopefully we can be here for the next 100 episodes and try to figure out what we learned from that,
Yeah.
or where we've grown. I would tell you quick. I know we're kind of running over time, but I wanted to share this story real quick. When I was at the paranormal convention, this elderly woman walked up to my table, and I don't get a lot of elderly women, just because it's a Bible Belt situation. They kind of either sense, because I have I had boxes that had pentagrams on them because people enjoy buying those for their walk, and I supply those, and then I had my pendulums up, and so I was definitely at a craft show. I gear more towards jewelry. At paranormal convention, I'm geared more towards the paranormal. I had my PsychicBent podcast cards out, and she walks right up to the pendulums, and she goes, when I was young, and she was probably in her early 80s,
Hmm.
and she goes, I remember as teenagers, all the girlfriends were sitting around the kitchen table, and we made pendulums with a pencil, and a pin stuck in the eraser with like a little chain on it, and they would ask questions, and the pendulum would move.
Uh-huh.
And there was this one girl that, because we were doing, is she going to get married? And it would, react a certain way, and how many kids, and it would swing back and forth, how many kids. And and there's this one gal that we kept doing that to, and it wouldn't move. And, she never did get married. She never had any kids.
Oh.
and, so she wanted to talk about pendulums. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And then I was I'm talking to her, and Spirit's telling me some things, and so I'm kind of like throwing it out there and stuff. And she looked at me, she goes, "You just gave me goosebumps." I went, "Sorry." And before she left, she goes, "I have to go find my daughter. She's the one who brought me here." She goes, "But I really enjoyed talking to you." It was a lot of fun. But so I think she knew that, she was getting I was providing some information that Spirit wanted her to know.
Right.
But for her to just walk up and start talking about pendulums,
yeah,
and how they used to do it. And then, just like great grandma, used to use playing cards to, read fortunes and, give readings and stuff.
Right.
It was just funny about how certain things are accepted and not. And I started to watch one of those episodes with the divers and the not-profit and trying to solve cases. And I haven't finished the episode, but the people that have lost this loved one want them to look at a particular lake, and they're sort of, okay. She goes, "Well, a psychic told me to look at that lake." I'm like going, "Oh, I have to finish this one."
Yeah.
But the one, they're skeptical. That's the normal response. Because
Right.
how many people claim to be psychic and don't have the correct information? And I don't know how this can play out. But the young guy in the show goes, "Well, I don't know about psychics, but divining rods are used very successfully." And it was interesting that he pulled that out of the hat. A divining rod, or the same thing as what you do with the pendulum, but with the divining rods we use. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So he believes in that, which is a psychic tool.
Yes.
So I'll have to finish that episode, but it was kind of like, I was just like going, okay. It just caught my attention, like, what? And maybe I've been watching it just to get to this episode.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. But Carrie squirreled. So, Kim, is there anything else you want to add to this episode before we end for the day?
No, I just hope everybody enjoys our podcast, and messages. Reach out to us. Let us know how it's going.
Yes, we love to get those emails. We get a lot of spam emails too, but we love getting those emails.
Yeah.
And that. So, all right. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Bye. May your light shine bright. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Psychic Bent. If you enjoyed Psychic Bent, please like, follow, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to Psychic Bent. We can be reached on Facebook at Psychic Bent Podcast. Our email address is psychicbent1@gmail.com. May your light shine bright.